Yo and hello everybody, Mike here, baseball collector. Today I am going to do, I think, kind of a neat video. Rick, who is Vintage Oddball Cards, is running a contest to show goofy cards. And I was having a really hard time coming up with goofy cards in my collection to show for that. And so then I was over at my parents' house the other day working on our tables and stuff that we're doing for our ranch. And my mom gave me a couple of cards and she started telling me some stories. And then I called her this morning to talk to her about, tell me some more, give me some more color because I want to tell this story on video. And she did, so I'm going to share that with you. And so hopefully it ties into the goofy card thing. I hope Rick will be amenable to that, but definitely a neat story for sure. If nothing else, I'll get to tell the story and archive it on video for me and my family and whatever. But, a lot of y'all have seen my dad on my channel, or, he comes in the chat every once in a while, and he's a great guy. I love my dad. We get along really well. And he was incredibly supportive of us growing up. But the real driver of me loving baseball the way I do and being such a huge just overall sports nut is my mom. And that's not normal in families, but in our case my mom was a huge sports nut. She went nuts over the Cowboys, and Sundays were a stressful event for her, for Cowboys. Huge baseball fan. And so I was talking to her today because she gave me these cards that I'm going to show in a minute. And I said, well, Mom, tell me something about that. And I always knew that growing up, her favorite team was the Yankees. She grew up in the late 50s, early 60s was her kind of childhood. And so there was no Texas Rangers yet. There was no local team. She grew up here in Fort Worth. And so her dad, my grandfather, whose name was Pete loved the Yankees. And so my mom, in order to, because see, she has two older brothers, or not two older brothers, one older brother, one younger brother, and they were super athletes and into sports and everything, and her dad loved sports. So in order for her to feel like she could garner her dad's attention, she would sit and listen to the game, or listen to the games with him, watch the games with him. This was early on in television, and so games were usually only shown like on Saturday, like once a week. And it was kind of the game of the week, and believe it or not, most of the time it was the Yankees because they were the best team. And in loving those early 60s Yankees teams, late 50s, early 60s Yankees team, her favorite player became Bobby Richardson. Bobby Richardson, 1960 World Series MVP, great player for the Yankees for a long time. And she gave me these I got two of them. Two postcards that she cut out of a Post cereal box when she was a kid. That's not the goofy part, although those are mildly goofy. They're not that goofy. And I don't want to use the word goofy as much as it is interesting. So, again, wanted a young lady who wants her dad's attention, and she's going to start following baseball and loving baseball. And she started buying baseball cards with her brothers. And she had a bunch of baseball cards, and I was talking to her today. I'm like, oh, Mom, if you only have those cards still. And she goes, yeah. And I said, well, it's a very common story that people of your age from that generation had their cards thrown in the trash or disposed of somehow, who knows. And so she also gave me this, and I had to get the story on this. So huge Yankees fan, fell in love with it after, her dad kind of indoctrinated her to it, and so cool. And by the way, Pete, my grandfather, he died 2 weeks before I was born. So I never got to meet him. I never knew him. But I feel like through these stories, I do kind of know him. I mean, my mom tells me all the time, she's like, you and my dad would have got along so famously. And I can totally see it based on everything I've heard about the man, that he and I would have been really good buddies. And I regret that I never got to meet him, but that wasn't under my control, and I get to hear cool stories, and but it is what it is. So The goofy card about this is this right here. You say, well, that's not a card. Yes, it is. This is a cutout of a 1960 Topps Bobby Richardson card. And believe it or not, my mom gave this to me the other day. She kept this in her wallet when she was a teenager because she thought Bobby Richardson was cute. And so she kept it in her wallet like he was her boyfriend or something. And she would walk around. She had a wallet card in the 60s, a facial shot of Bobby Richardson. You know, I thought maybe I could send this into PSA because obviously they can't detect trimming. So they wouldn't even know that this card is trimmed and cut essentially to 1/4 of its size normally. I'd get a Gem Mint 11, Platinum Mint 11, this card would. Really sharp corners. I mean, if you use a knife, you can cut them really sharp. But how cool is that my mom carried a chopped up 1960 Topps Bobby Richardson card and around with her. I mean, this is like so cool and like now becoming one of the most prized possessions in my collection, something that my mom carried around. I mean, and as much as I love cards and all of the things to do with that, I mean, how sweet is that? Now I have to go find a Bobby Richardson full 1960 Topps and get it just to match them up, have a matching pair. So I just think it's goofy that my mom carried a card around with her as a teenage girl of a New York Yankees second baseman. I think that's hilarious. So, and very, very cool, by the way. So that is kind of the story. That's my one goofy card. And I got some cool 1962 postcards too. But man, that's it for today. I just thought I'd share some things. I just thought that was such a cool story. And I hope you like it. We all have these weird connections and interesting things that have happened to us over our life that, you know, move us down the road to where we are today. And my mom was a huge influence on me as a kid. She drove us around everywhere and made us play, not made us, encouraged us to play every sport all the time. I mean, if it was winter or fall, it was football. Winter, it was basketball. Spring, it was baseball. We bowled all the time. I played tennis, soccer, you name it. I did it. I tried it. And it was because she wanted to expose us to all these sports as much as she could and to find out what we liked. I mean, I don't know, today's world, they get these kids into, you know, select leagues and kind of pigeonhole them into a sport early on in their lives, and they're kind of forced into that. And, you know, to me, I had a blast just playing all sorts of sports and trying everything. And I found ones that I enjoyed and I was good at. So thanks, Mom. And it's also appropriate since Mother's Day is coming up. So all of that works for this to be a really cool story. And thank you guys who stayed to the end. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you soon. Keep collecting.